It's Friday morning and Tom Havens is to buy the paint after school today. To make the purchase, his father gives him a $5 bill, a crisp, new $5 bill that he received at the bank yesterday. This particular piece of money is just starting in circulation. What will happen to it? What will it be used for? What can money be used for? What is money, anyway?
Attention. Due to the recent influx of money's influence on class systems, you may be suffering from depression, anxiety, poor diet, suicidal thoughts, hopelessness, or despair. If you or a loved one has these symptoms, you may be suffering from income inequality. There is no vaccine for this virus, but prevention begins with you.
We don't really talk about income inequality and mental health, but it's a real problem, especially for young Canadians living in large cities. The more unequal a city becomes, the lower it scores on all major social indexes. That's when you see increases in mental health illnesses, addiction, and lack of trust and belonging. That's the connection to the idea of death of despair. Millennials and Gen Z have suicide rates far higher than prior generations. A lot of that is tied to the depression and anxiety of financial inequality.
The largest increases in income inequality occur in our country's most populous centers, urban metro areas that attract the most jobs, culture, and technology. Obviously, the areas that our young college graduates have to move to in order to succeed and advance. 2 out of every 5 Canadians currently reside in cities with the worst income ratios. This issue is uniquely urban, and cities act as a dynamic and innovative driver to economic prosperity. But when young people aged 18 to 25 are made to feel hopeless and with despair because they can't afford to live, work, and be healthy in these communities, what does it mean for this nation going forward?
The income equality is kind of creating this in my generation. It's not a cycle of poverty. It's just a cycle of trying to make it. People my age, it's kind of sad. You have to make a choice of either having a healthy diet or living in a nicer neighborhood with access to SkyTrain or other public transportation. Or you're just gone completely so far into debt that now you're basically just chasing your rent payment and your student loan payments. This is causing just a flight or flee scenario where almost all of my friends have left for even other countries like Australia, where the minimum wage, I think, is $25 an hour. And if you go there, you can make enough to pay back your loan, live a good life, not have to work 2 jobs or a full-time job and 2 part-time jobs that so many people my age do. And it's in contrast to what our parents went through, where you have the work-life balance, you work 1 job, you have the family. Now I feel there's going to be kind of a gap in people starting families. And you can see that in our population charts, where a lot of people my age aren't having children.
We rely on art and expression to communicate what our culture is to one another and to the rest of the world. But when so many Canadian artists are denied the opportunity to create community and to become involved in the art scene in their cities because income inequality has made it so they simply don't have time to dedicate to their art, we all suffer. Community involvement suffers, and our ability to tell Canadian stories goes with it.
So when you're working that many hours in a given day, there's only 24 hours of the day. So you're working that much time, living to work, you're making money in order to survive, in order to pay your bills. You're not at all focused on your physical health, on your mental health, let alone what you want to do as an artist, developing that. Whether you're trying to write, whether you're painting, whether you're acting, or at least trying to meet with other people so you can develop kind of a community, it's almost non-existent because there just aren't enough hours in the day. Now, physical health aside, mental health aside, you need to be able to feed yourself. You need to be able to sleep in order to get to a healthy state of mind so that you're going in and giving what is the best representation of yourself and your ability. But you're being constantly undermined because your number one worry is finances.
There's a social cure to this disease of inequality, and it starts with all of us. Currently, more than 54% of our citizens dwell in urban areas, and that's expected to rise to 66% by 2050. We must embrace intergenerational connections and avoid social atomization by creating communities that work for all of us so that this country can move forward economically. The solution lies in embracing a triangle effect of interconnected challenges. Housing, transportation, and economic taxation policy are interrelated in the consequences they pose to our overall success in communities. The most simplistic way to embrace this is for the 18 to 25-year-olds among us to get out and vote. Engage in the process, learn about the types of government you're voting in, and understand your responsibilities at a municipal, provincial, and federal level. Eliminate social atomization in this country and bring us forward together.